welcome to this week's episode. I wanted to start off by talking about what is happening in LA, and not only in LA, but all over the country right now with the ICE raids. I don't really have any words to talk about how disturbing this all is, truly. It's been happening all over Garden Grove, like my city that I grew up in. I'm seeing so many people that I went to school with posting about. Sorry, shit is like fucking insane. People, ICE popping up in all of these places that I used to be in, and it's hard to see it happening to my own community. And it's hard seeing it happen everywhere because people don't deserve this. Nobody deserves this. No human being deserves any of this. Human beings are not illegal. If you or a loved one has been affected by what is happening, I have left some resources in the description that has an amazing immigration resource spreadsheet. It has so many great links to help you with knowing your rights and knowing what you can do in case somebody has been detained, or how to know your rights and everything like that. Please, if you're planning on protesting, be as safe as you possibly can be. Know your rights before you go out to protest. Protect yourself as much as you possibly can. If you have a platform, please, I urge you to speak up for other people. If you have 100 followers, if you have 100,000 followers, please share resources and share what is happening, share what is going on, share your support as much as you possibly can. Your voice matters. Every voice matters in this situation. But that's really all that I have to say as of right now. I really, really hope that everybody is doing okay as we can be. And I hope that you are all safe. But with that, I hope you enjoy this week's episode and stay safe. I love you all. Hi, and welcome to episode 12 of Talkin Shit with Ava Lucette. I am your host, Ava Lucette. Okay, so last week we talked about manifestation, all right? And this week I wanted to talk a little bit about moon rituals, and I also thought about some other things that I wanted to talk about this week as well, that my therapist told me about, which was the circle of control. And the funny thing about my therapist telling me about that is I heard about the circle of control, and then the day after I went to work, and while I was working, I was listening to The Law of Attraction Changed My Life with Francesca Amber. You already know that's my favorite podcast ever. And she was talking about very similar things. She had a guest on. I feel so bad I can't remember the name of her guest, but I will put her name here so that you guys can look at her podcast. She also has a book that they were reading at the time. And it's basically about how you get to choose what you can. You can't choose what you can and cannot control, but you can choose to focus on what you can control so that way you don't spin to a frenzy and stay in a negative mindset. All essentially is getting you to a more positive thinking space. And I feel like that is something that I really wanted to talk about this week. So first things first, let's go ahead and get into the fragrance of the day and our oracle cards. So fragrance of the day, she is a little different, you may notice, but this is the fragrance that I actually made when I went to Ren Fair. And it smells so good. I still will never get over the fact that the man who put this together thought that I had a bad taste. But I love this. It's literally my favorite thing right now. And it's very summery. So it's amber, vanilla, and violet. And the violet really adds a nice powdery sort of note. I'm going to put a little bit more on because she smells so good. And I feel like this is really, really great for summer. The lotion that I used this morning was the Hemp's blackberry and lemongrass. Something like that. If I can find a picture, I'll put that up here too. But it smells so good with this. Oh, it's so delicious. And that old man, he will never make me feel bad about my choice because I love this so much. Okay, that's our fragrance of the day. If you ever go and make your own fragrance at a fragrance house or something, or I really want to go do more stuff like that. I want to make my own fragrances. I would definitely try it out. Maybe even not vanilla. Hello. Maybe violet might not be for you, but I feel like violet really just, I don't know. It made sense for me and I really liked the way that it smelled. Um and it's honestly, it just smells so good. It's like perfect for summertime. Okay, let's get into the Oracle poll. Hopefully this will have to do with, positive mindsets and everything like that, because that is really what I wanted to focus on this week. There has been a lot going on. We already know what's going on with my dad. There's other stuff that's going on, but I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. So there's a lot going on in my head all the time. Mentally, I am a little out of whack, but I'm trying my best to focus on the positives and express gratitude for everything that is happening in my life and like focus on the positive. And yes, sometimes it is hard, but I feel like overall I don't want to crawl into a hole and die. So I feel like that's progress. I feel like that's a good thing. Okay, so we got Activate the Void Azurite. Oh, I've never heard of this one. That's pretty. Okay, Azurite, and I like that it has like the two hands. That's actually really pretty. I like that a lot. Azurite. Let's see. Oh, I like flipped right to the page. Okay. Activate the Void Azurite. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't know if I am. Each in breath. Is that supposed to say in each breath? Each in breath creates space within you and expect an expectant stillness. I promise I'm not having trouble reading this time, guys. I feel like this might not be correct English. Unless I'm just stupid. I don't know. Okay, it says each in breath creates space within you, an expectant stillness. I feel like that does not sound right. Okay. Azurite holds the energy of its empty fullness. It is not the container but the space contained, not the walls of the womb but the emptiness within. This void is the most precious gift because it is emptiness. In the pause at the crossroads of time and space, your intuition can soar. Once space is created, stuck energies begin to flow, funneling through heaviness, creating a place for something more daring or delicate than everyday life. Azurite holds you as you behold this void, so you can feel the rich oceans of possibilities in which you are swimming. Breathe in the blue and allow the fullness of the emptiness to elevate your spirit. Okay, so with everything that's going on right now, I feel like the emptiness is the part that I'm having a lot of trouble with. I don't like being alone with my thoughts right now, even though I am trying very, very hard to maintain a like positive sort of mindset. I feel like especially at night when I'm trying to go to sleep, I've been having the worst insomnia ever recently. I don't like the thoughts that I have like right before I go to bed. And I don't know why my anxiety peaks before I go to bed. That's usually when I have emetophobia, panic attacks. It's because like I start to overthink, and then the overthinking stresses me out, and then the stress makes my stomach hurt, and then my stomach hurt makes me think that I'm gonna throw up, and then after that I just kind of spiral and I have a panic attack and I cry myself to sleep, and it's not fun. It's no bueno. I don't like the way that I feel. I haven't had a panic attack in a long time though. I have been able to kind of like calm myself down before like I actually have a big panic attack. So it's been a minute since I've like really broken down like that, and I'm glad that it's been a long time. But I don't like the thoughts that I have when I'm trying to sleep. And I always have to have the TV on while I'm trying to sleep, because once I start overthinking, like I need something to distract me. So like I usually right now, it kind of switches in and out like the shows that I have in the background. But right now it's usually American Dad. So when I start to overthink, I like tune into the TV and I'm just watching the TV. And falling asleep to that actually does help. And the other night, I got some really bad news, and that's the thing that I don't really want to talk about. But that night, I literally, I don't know, like I felt a little empty after I found it out, and I literally, like, I just needed comfort, and I watched Coraline. Because I feel like that is truly like my biggest comfort movie like ever. I know that movie like the back of my hand, which is funny because it's literally like that's a line in the movie. She knows you like the back of her hand. But I love that movie so much, and that movie like really means a lot to me because like during my really really like depressive phase when I was in high school, like I used to watch that movie every single night before I went to bed, and that would make me feel better. And I did that for the first time in a long time, and it was comforting. Like I feel like I kind of needed that to like remind me like this is where I used to be and I'm not there anymore. And I need to remember that I'm not there anymore, and I need to give myself grace that I'm not there anymore. Yes, right now I'm not doing very well mentally, but that does not mean that I have a bad life. That does not mean that the whole day is bad. Like the whole day was not ruined. Like that morning I had such a productive day. Like I finally folded all of my laundry, which I fucking hate doing laundry, and I finally got all of it done. And I worked out that day, and I got like all of the things. I checked off everything on my daily what are those called? My daily goals. I have daily goals that I try to achieve, which is, you know, self-care, hydration, moving my body, and cleaning up, like tidying. And so I met all of my goals that day. And then, you know, later in the evening, once I was finished editing last week's episode, I, you know, got the news. And then after that, I just felt like I didn't want to do anything. I was like, I don't want to, like, yes, I had a productive day, but I just like don't want to do anything anymore. I'm exhausted. Like I feel like mentally I'm exhausted. And it's kind of weird how like your mental state can really affect your physical being. You know what I mean? But anyway, I watched Coraline. That helped. And I was able to fall asleep. I called out of work the next day because I literally was up until 2 in the morning, and I had to get up at 5, and I was like, I don't want to have to go to work after like not getting any sleep after finding out this news. Like I just want to fucking I don't want to do anything right now. And so I just kind of gave myself a little bit of grace on that. And yesterday I just focused on posting, you know, my episode, and then went to an Al-Anon meeting, and that was nice. And it was, yeah, I feel like yesterday wasn't horrible. I found out the news on Wednesday. Yesterday was Thursday. But, you know, I'm checking in where I need to check in, and I'm taking care of my mental health through everything too, so that I'm able to support other people. But, yeah, it's, the last tail end of this week was a little weird. I feel like the first half of it was pretty good. I was doing pretty good. And then I kind of had a couple days where I was like, damn. But right now, I feel like I'm doing okay. I feel like today has been good. I just finished reading Coraline. So not only did I watch the movie, I read the book too. And last week I was literally just talking about how I just started it. So I finished it pretty quickly. It's a pretty short book. I think it's like 160 pages. And there was, like, I was comparing it to the movie, and, like, it was kind of funny because, like, I think I mentioned this last week, how when I was reading it, I could, like, read in the characters' voices and everything in my head. And while I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, this is so different in the book. And when I finished that book, I was really proud of myself because that was, like, the first time in a while that I had actually finished a book. Like, I feel like I've picked up books, but I've never really, not never. I had a hard time with, like, completing it. But I was really determined to get back into reading, you know? And so now I kind of want to flip-flop between nonfiction and self-help, because self-help books are my personal favorite. Like, I feel like that's something that I've always kind of gravitated towards. My favorite self-help books have been Set Boundaries, Find Peace. I can't remember the author for that, but I'll add a photo. Set Boundaries, Find Peace, and then also The Magic, which is also, it's like, has to do with like The Secret. And I really liked The Magic because that was where I learned a lot of my gratitude practices that I have currently. So yeah, I'm getting back into reading. I'm a reader now, and right now I'm reading Atomic Habits. And I think I made a TikTok about it earlier, talking about how one of the things that I had read was like, holy shit, like this is about to change my life. And it's essentially that, like, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's essentially like, it's like a form of manifestation, like acting as if you already are those things, right? Like, if you want to, it's not that you want to write something, you are a writer. I am a writer. You know what I mean? It's like changing the phrasing around things so that that way it rewires your brain to like form a habit, if that makes sense. It's like similar with manifestation. You give yourself the affirmations, you tell yourself the same things every single day, and that is what gets you to where you want to be, right? You act as if you're walking in the shoes of your future self, of like the person that you want to be. And that's pretty much what Atomic Habits is teaching me. I just finished chapter 2, so I will update on, you know, what else is in there. And if there's like a lot of stuff in that book that I think would be very helpful for other people, I definitely would want to make an episode about it, because so far 2 chapters in, I'm already kind of like, whoa, this is probably going to change a lot of shit for me. So I'm trying to change my mindset and my vocabulary around certain things. So I am a person who takes care of their mental health. I am a person who takes care of their physical health. I am a podcaster. I am a content creator. And I feel like before, like, it kind of felt cheesy to say shit like that. Like, I kind of hated being like, oh yeah, like, I'm a content creator. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, I'm trying to, like, get that ick sort of feeling away from me, because, like, I want to embody that. Like, I want to be able to unapologetically be myself and create content wherever I want to create content, because I feel like right now, anytime I'm filming in front of somebody, or if I'm trying to film in public, I feel very embarrassed. But that's not going to be me anymore, okay? Because I am a content creator who is comfortable in her own skin, and I am able to create content wherever I am in the world. So, yeah, so Atomic Habits is teaching me how to change my mindset around that. So I'm very, very excited to finish Atomic Habits. Anyway, I wanted to get into moon rituals. So, again, Law of Attraction Changed My Life with Francesca Amber. Favorite podcast ever, and this is actually moon rituals that I learned from her podcast. And I brought my iPad with me today. It looks a little greasy, okay? Leave me alone. I forgot to like wipe it down with alcohol before I started. So if it looks a little gross, I'm sorry. I promise I'm not an iPad baby. It's not sticky, all right? But this is manifesting using the moon, and this is about new moon and full moon rituals. Our bodies are affected by the moon, so is, like, you know, the ocean. So, and if you think about it, you know, we're 70% water. We're basically walking around like little fucking oceans. So we are a body of water, and the moon affects that. And I think, too, like, with women or people with uteruses specifically, we are on a cycle. We're on a 28-day cycle. And I talked about this before, like cyclical living and luteal phase, follicular, like all of that. And I feel like we sync up with the moon with our womb, if that makes sense. I don't know. Was that a bar? I don't know if that was a bar. But anyway, so you can also coordinate plans with the moon cycles. I feel like recently I haven't been doing my moon rituals as often as I should. I think last month I was just fucking going through it, so I didn't do a new moon ritual. Well, I kind of did. I just did like a very, very small, like, wrote in the notes section of my planner, like, the things that I wanted to manifest, and I just sat there with gratitude. But I didn't go outside and light a candle and, you know, charge my crystals. Like, I didn't do all of that. And I feel like I kind of beat myself up about it a little bit, but honestly, like, I need to give myself grace, because last month was fucking hard, okay? Last month was really fucking hard. So I want to give myself a little bit of grace on that. But my new moon rituals are usually this sort of thing that I'm going to introduce to you. Also, first things first, the difference between a new moon ritual and a full moon ritual. The new moon is about manifesting. It's about bringing things into your life, right? What do you want to attract? And then the full moon ritual is about releasing. What are you getting rid of? And you kind of want to base it on the monthly cycle, right? The 28 days. And I feel like new moons are a really good time to think about what do you want to what do you want to do going into the next month? What do you want to do for the rest of the month? Like, what are your goals? What are your short-term goals that you can work on, that you can progress, right? And then your full moon is kind of like reflecting on the past 28 days and thinking like, okay, what are some things that I can get rid of? Is it a person? Is it a habit? Is it, whatever it is? Is it decluttering? It's whatever you feel you need to release from yourself. That's what the full moon ritual is going to be for, and we will get into all of that. So, the new moon ritual is the manifesting moon, usually at the beginning of the month. Months are not aligned with the moon cycle. This was actually something really funny that Francesca Amber said in the episode that she was talking about this. Because it's the patriarchy. No, and it literally fucking is. The fact that we are on a 9-to-5 cycle and like the Gregorian calendar, bitch, that's the patriarchy, okay? And you cannot fucking change my mind about that. Because if we were running through the cycle of the moon, which would make way more fucking sense as the calendar year, like, I don't know. It just pisses me off. It pisses me off when I think about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it because it's going to make me so mad. Because the patriarchy affects fucking everything, okay? We're not going to get into it, okay? Calm down. Okay, anyway. So the months are not aligned with the moon cycle because of the patriarchy, and the patriarchy is trying to fuck us over, essentially. But the new moon ritual is time to make new goals and commitments for the month ahead. How to manifest on the night of the new moon. You want to find out when the next one is going to be coming up. So if you have a pen and paper or just your notes app, write this down, okay? If you want to do a moon ritual, write this down. So, find out when the next new moon is going to be. I honestly, I don't remember what day the next one is coming. I'm pretty sure it's coming soon. But I haven't been keeping track. Told you last month was hard. Didn't put it into my calendar. We're moving on. And then set up a sacred space for the ritual. So for me personally, I usually like to do it on my patio. If you have like a ritual table that you use, that's a really good place to do it. If you are, if you want to go out to a park and set up, some crystals around you, or like bring candles, bring bring a little picnic, do it in the park. You could do something like that too. And you also don't have to do it like in the night sky. You could do it during the daytime if you don't have time to do it at night. And also, you can do it a couple days before or a couple days after if you know the day of the new moon or full moon. You aren't going to be able to sit down and really do a ritual because that energy is still going to be surrounding it. It's not just one day, right? And plus, if you miss it, there's always the next month. They keep on coming continually. If you don't do it for once or twice or whatever, you can always pick it back up the next time. So, find a sacred space. And usually what I like to do is I like to play healing frequencies. So it says you can leave your phone inside, like if you feel like that could be a distraction. I usually just put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and then I like to have my healing frequencies on. And you want to be very conscious and present. So usually the first thing that I do when I go outside, I light my candles, and before I start to like use my sage and my Palo Santo, I just kind of sit there and I roll my neck three times in both directions. And then I do the same with my shoulders. I roll them back and then I roll them forward, and I do that 3 times each. And that just helps my physical body to relax. And then as I'm doing this, I'm just deep breathing, and I'm really stretching the neck, stretching the shoulders, really like loosening myself up. Because I feel like physically being relaxed is going to help you mentally relax and help you focus on things. And same thing with the frequencies too. I feel like the frequencies really help to kind of keep you in that zone, if that makes sense. So where the fuck was I? Dedicate time and energy into the ritual. You don't want it to just be like a quick little, like, if this is your first time doing a moon ritual, or you're just starting out doing moon rituals, you want to give yourself time, right? I feel like I can do a little one. Like if I really don't have time or energy or whatever, I could just do a little one. Like I said, like I wrote it in like the little notes part of my planner. But when you're getting started, you really want to invest some time into it, because it's also taking time for yourself, because you deserve to have that time. You deserve to work on your spirituality or to work on your mental health, right? And even if you don't necessarily believe in spirituality, I feel like if you just, I don't know, schedule like, hey, like this day is the new moon. I'm just going to set aside time to figure out my goals for the month. This is the day of the full moon. Okay, I'm going to figure out what I need to stop doing in order for me to do better in the next month, right? It doesn't even have to go with spirituality. For me personally, I'm a very spiritual person, and that's why I really like to, amp it up, right? I'm charging all of my crystals. I'm doing my sage, my Palo Santo, my Florida water. Before I get started, I'm just like, with my Florida water, I'm like wiping that shit down. I'm making sure I'm energetically cleansed, and it also just smells really good too. But you want to dedicate time and energy into it, and you want to focus on your breathing. It's almost like a meditation when you're doing it too. Focus on your breathing, and then, you're going to write out what your goals are. So going into that, oh, also, if you're in grass or dirt, take your shoes off. Really, touch grass. Really feel it. So light a candle with intention. Usually white candles are what a lot of people like to use. I also like to use white candles, or sometimes green if I'm trying to attract, abundance. Bring crystals and allow them to recharge during the new moon or full moon. Write a manifestation list for the month ahead, and write all of the things that you want to achieve, both long-term and short-term. So I like to do roughly about 6 or 7, and I do this same for new moon and full moon. I write about 6 or 7 things that I want to focus on, right? And some are long-term goals, some are short-term. So for my long-term goals, right, usually what I end up putting on there is, has to do with my emetophobia. So for the new moon, I would manifest I'm going out more often, and I'm going to new restaurants, I'm trying new foods. And during a full moon, I would say emetophobia no longer serves me. I'm ridding myself of emetophobia. And that I know is long-term because it took a long time for it to build up to how it is now. So it is going to take some time to break it back down, right? Short term is, like I said earlier, I have my daily goals, right? So short term, building small habits, atomic habits, building small habits where I can, am I achieving my daily goals every day? What is something that I can do that is tangible that I can start right now in order to achieve my goals? So those are short term, long term. Do a couple different ones. I need some water. Ooh. Okay. Then you're going to write a manifestation list for the month ahead and write all of the things that you want to achieve. Oh, I already read that. What am I saying? Okay. For the long term goals, break it down over time. So I put in quotes. What is the one thing I can do this month to move me closer to that goal, right? So again, still small little changes that start as short term, but they end up helping you in the long term. During extra bright nights, this goes for full moon rituals, leave your crystals charging, leave your manifestation list to charge too. I guess that makes sense. Well, yeah, I mean, even if it's not super bright outside, I still, for my new moon rituals, I put my paper underneath my moon water, because that's another thing I do is I make moon water. I put my manifestations underneath the moon water, and I let that all charge together, but I don't know why I put extra bright nights, because during the new moon, it's pitch black. So I don't know why I wrote that, but anyway. Then you want to put it away, keep it safe, and then every once in a while, go back, reflect on it, go back and check it. And that's why I like to write it down physically on a piece of paper, because I feel like you can go back to that. You can look at it again and see I've achieved all of these things that I wanted to achieve. Very similar to how we were talking about last week, how I had that notebook of pretty much everything that I wanted, and I ended up getting all of that. And it's nice to look back and realize oh shit, this actually came true for me, So yeah, that's what I have for, setting goals during a new moon supercharges them. That's the other little thing that I wanted to add in. I'm so sorry if this is all over the place. I don't usually do instructional sort of stuff, but if this is making any sense, I really hope that this is making sense. Okay, full moon rituals. This one, personally, I like a little bit more. Okay, because I'm a Capricorn, okay? I like to just get rid of shit, So, the full moon ritual It is not about creating or looking ahead. It is about reflection and looking back and becoming aware of the things that affected you in the past month, right? So you want to look back and think like, okay, since the new moon, what are some things that have happened in my life that I can physically remove? Do I need to declutter? Do I need to cut ties with this person? Do I need to, I don't know, do I need to chop my hair off? Like whatever it is, whatever you feel like you need to be rid of, that is what you want to focus on. You're, again, going to make a sacred space, right? But this time you want to make sure that you are in a safe area, right? And you don't want it to be in a space that's very windy because we are going to be working with fire. All right, my fellow arsonists, for legal purposes, that's a joke. My fellow arsonists, we're going to have a great time with this one, okay? And this is why it's my personal favorite. So I like to do it on my patio still, but sometimes it's kind of hard to do it on a patio if it's super windy because, it's outside. It is a little bit harder to do it inside, especially if you live in an apartment like I do and have very sensitive smoke alarms. Not fun. No bueno. So just keep that in mind, right? You want to do it in a safe space that you can work with fire, but please, for the love of God, be safe. Have a cup next to you of water that you can put the fire out in case of an emergency, okay? Be careful. I do not want to be held liable because you set your house on fire, all right? So you're going to make your sacred space. Play music that calms you. Again, healing frequencies or just, playing whatever is going to help you calm down. Light a candle with intention. Again, I like to do the white candle. Charge crystals. Make a list of everything that is no longer serving you that you want to release. So again, you want to put that on a physical piece of paper so that way you are able to rip the paper up. And I feel like I should give you guys an example or something, but I usually just tear up pieces of paper and write something on each paper, if that makes sense. Or you could just write it in a list form and then just crumple the whole paper up and burn that all at once. I like to burn it one by one because I like to play with fire, okay? That might not be for everybody, but that is what I like to do. Okay, so not about creation, it's about releasing, letting go, we already know. So example, release emotions, habits, situations, relationships, people, and limiting beliefs. I feel like that's another big one. I feel like I work on getting rid of my limiting beliefs a lot. And that's something that I kind of I've done a couple moon rituals with my friends too. And I'll tell them there's going to be some stuff that's going to be on your list for a while, like I said, for my emetophobia, that has been on my list multiple times, okay? That doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. It just means that it's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to take time in order to release this for myself, right? Don't ever feel discouraged if you see the same thing on your papers, okay, for a new moon ritual or a full moon ritual. Some stuff is going to be hard to let go of. Some things are going to be hard to bring into your life, but that does not mean that you should stop doing it, okay? Don't beat yourself up, all right? And I literally literally wrote that in here. Why am I going on a tangent? It says, don't be upset with yourself if you have to repeat goals. You're taking the time to change your behavior. The journey isn't linear. That is very important. The journey of self-love and self-acceptance is not linear. The journey is never linear. So some release examples can include not going to bed so late, right? Eating healthier. Not sabotaging by procrastinating on my phone, watching TV, refusing to do things that I deserve to do to keep me in a better mindset, and don't use negative language. So it's also a lot of the times with manifestation and things, you don't want to necessarily do do not do this. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's you just put, I'm trying to think of the way that I usually phrase it. So say if I wanted to get rid of limiting beliefs, right? So I would write limiting beliefs on the paper, crumple that up, and then say, to the universe and say to the full moon is, sorry, I'm trying to get in the zone. I'm trying to think of my exact phrasing of what I say when I'm doing all of this. So I crumple up the paper and then I say, thank you, universe and full moon for allowing me to release this from my life because it is no longer serving me. And then I light it on fire and then I throw it in my little fireproof container. The fireproof container, by the way, you can just use an old candle. If there's a candle that you have that's almost empty and you can't light it anymore, scrape all the wax out of it, and then use that as your fireproof container. I don't know why I couldn't fucking speak for a second. But yeah, so that's what you want to do. You don't want to be like, get the shit out of my life immediately. Like, I fucking hate this. Like, you don't want to do all that, all right? This is a ritual. We are trying to hone it in. We are trying to keep it calm, keep it positive, all right? So thank the universe. Thank the full moon. Thank your higher power. Thank whoever you need to thank to release it from yourself. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So then you're going to burn it. You're going to burn that shit, like I said. You're going to when you're finished, you're going to pour the ashes down the drain with lots of water so it physically runs away from your house. So I just kind of like, I make sure that everything is burned first because you don't want to burn, you don't want to put just like pieces of paper down your sink. And then I swirl around the ashes and I dump it down the sink. And I let the water run for a minute or two because you want to flush that shit away. I guess you could also like put it in the toilet and like flush that too. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You read it and you burn these individually. You feel the release removing from yourself intensely. So I feel like the best way that I can describe it is as you're watching the flames, right? Something that I like to interpret very similar to like, what are those called? Like a cord cutting. You watch the flames and you watch the smoke and you kind of use that as an indicator of like, okay, how long is this going to take? How long did it take for this to burn? Maybe that means that it's going to take a little bit more time. How big of a flame is there? That probably means that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be like a very difficult thing for me to deal with, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to happen. So you just kind of like interpret things however you want to interpret them. That is all up to you, okay? Just remember to keep yourself in a positive mindset. Don't allow yourself to have negative interpretations of things, okay? Even if something takes a long time, express gratitude for like one day, it will be gone, okay? Keep that in mind. You want to stay positive as possible. If you happen to miss the day of the new moon, full moon, you can still do the rituals up to 2 days before, 2 days after, which I mentioned. The moon cycle will still have power. So that is how I do my moon rituals. And I feel like that's something that I like to share with people. Like I said, like I've done it with my friends too. But I feel like it's honestly like, as somebody who has done it with other people, I feel like I like to do it by myself because I feel like it's less energy to worry about. And I feel like the first couple times that you try it out, I think you should do it by yourself or with somebody who knows what they're doing and is able to kind of like show you the ropes, right? Which is something that I did for my friends. I showed them how to do it. But then after that, I was like, you know what? I feel like because I was helping other people, I wasn't able to focus on myself as much and I wasn't able to focus on my intention as much. So I think I need to do this by myself. So I feel like maybe I might start doing one for myself, one with my friends, but it all just depends, depends on the situation. Another thing that I also wanted to talk about was glamour magic. So glamour magic is something that I'm just now getting into. Okay, so if anybody has some glamour magic rituals that they like, that they have been doing, that have worked for them, please let me know what that is because I would love to know. Something that I recently did is I put a sigil on my mirror and it says beauty and confidence radiate from within me, and I read that to myself every day when I do my skincare. Every time I look in my mirror is I repeat that to myself. So I have that sigil, and then on my moon water, I also drew a sigil on my moon water, and then I put that in my bath. So that's another thing that I wanted to talk about too with glamour magic is you can do ritual baths, right? So a ritual bath, I like to put my moon water, my charged moon water, into my bathtub with me, and I light candles. I have moody lighting. I have one of those sunset lamps, so I'll put the sunset lamp on. I usually do like a pink or an orange. And then turn off the lights, light some candles, do a bubble bath. Like I have like a bubble bar from Lush that I use and it smells so good. And then I just sit there and I soak. And my little brother's girlfriend, oh my God, I love her so much. She got me a bath tray, which I was like, yes, I've been wanting one of these for so long. And so the first time I had a ritual bath when we moved into our current apartment, Tyler brought me like a tray of snacks, and it was like chocolate covered pretzels, strawberries, like all sorts of different things. And so I had like a little snack tray. I had some ice cold water with me because there is nothing, oh my God, nothing feels better than being in like a warm bath and like your whole body is just like submerged in like this warmth and having some ice cold water with it. It's just so good. Some people might drink wine. I don't drink alcohol, but if you want to drink wine, you can do that. If you want to schmonk a little before you do it, that's what I like to do personally because it just, makes me feel a little elevated, if you know what I mean. So that's something that I like to do as well. And then also bringing in like rose quartz and things like that. You can either put it in the tub or you can have it right outside of the tub. That's up to you. But having like certain crystals around you as well to kind of like amplify that energy, I feel like is really, really nice. I need to clean my bathroom. Like my bathroom has kind of low key like been depression bathroom. So I need to clean up my bathroom. And my reward to myself when my bathroom is like completely finished and like nice and clean is going to be a ritual bath because girl, I need one. Okay, I've been stressed. I've been stressed out. I've been, like I said, emotions are kind of all over the place. I need to just relax. I need to just relax in a nice bath. And I feel like that's something that it's just really like taking time for myself and focusing on myself and like just like the pleasures of life, that is something that I feel like is so nice to do for yourself, is to just give yourself a little bath. And even if you don't have a bath at your place, like taking a nice shower, you can do the same sort of like ritualistic thing in the shower, right? You can turn on the shower, you can light some candles that are just outside of the shower. You can get one of those shower lamps. I want to get one of those things so bad. You can get a shower lamp. You could put like a eucalyptus around your shower head, things like that. Like just because somebody else has something that you don't have, you can figure out a way to make it work for yourself, right? And it doesn't have to be the exact same way that everybody else does it. You can have your own thing and it can still mean a lot to you. So that's my little spiel on glamour magic. I really want to get more into it. I've heard that putting sigils on your skincare, on your makeup products, on your brushes, also benefits a lot. So I think I'm going to try that as well. And I also want to have some more crystals in my bathroom because I usually bring my crystals in for like my ritual baths, but I kind of just want to have crystals in my bathroom to really kind of just like elevate the energy in there. So where are we? Oh my God, we're already at 40 minutes. Holy shit, I've been yapping. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the circle of control. This is something that my therapist was telling me about last week when I saw her. And, we were talking about my dad and we were talking about my anger and everything with that whole situation. And she reminded me of the circle of control. So essentially, if you wanted to do like a practice like this, the circle of control is you just write a circle on a piece of paper. And on the inside, you think about a situation, right? On the inside, you write the things that you can control, right? And then on the outside, you write things that are out of your control. So inside, you can control your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, right? What you cannot control is other people's thoughts, other people's actions, other people's opinions of you. Things like that, I feel like putting it into perspective of like, that's their thing, that's not my thing. I can only control what I have going on in my life. They can do whatever they want because that's their life and that's okay. That's their choice. That I feel really helps to remind me that like, okay, it's fine. Like other people's opinion of me doesn't really matter. Like, especially because recently I made some conservatives mad. I made some conservatives mad on TikTok because I was talking about how pride, like the pride flag logo, like businesses are not doing pride flag logos this year. And I was talking about how it feels very like, I mean, we already knew it was rainbow capitalism, but this year it feels a little more like menacing because of everything that's going on with our government. And there were also, I've noticed like a lot of like liberals that were not understanding the point of what I was saying. And that was also kind of like, okay. But but yeah, again, that's my opinion. And if people disagree with my opinion, whatever, it's their opinion. But I was getting death threats. I was literally getting death threats over talking about this. So many people were telling me to off myself. I had conservative men coming into the comments of my other videos, calling me fat, calling me ugly, which I'm like, bitch, at least be original. Like, the least you could do is be fucking original. But I really don't give a fuck about a man's opinion, personally. I feel like I was kind of getting down on myself because of the comments that I was getting from, like, other liberals. And, you know, people were saying, like, this is such a non-issue. And I was like, but it's really not, though. I mean, it kind of just goes to show, like, that these companies really never cared about us. And I feel like a lot of people were not watching my video all the way through because I did explain that. And people weren't watching the video all the way through before they formed an opinion on it. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. If you chose not to watch the whole video before you commented, that's okay. But I was, like, getting down on myself for that. And, like, the hate comments that I was getting were kind of starting to get to me. And I was talking to my therapist about it. And she was like, okay, like, let's circle back and let's talk about the circle of control. And so after I did that, like, I did a little practice on my own, and I was like, okay, I cannot control what other people's opinions are of me. I can't. Plain and simple. All that I can control are my own thoughts about myself, my own feelings about myself. I know that when I made that video, I made it with this intention. So I still stand on what I said, and that's kind of like where I'm at, you know? I still get hate comments, but just kind of like, what does Jinx Monsoon say? Water off a duck's back. It just rolls off. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, it's fine. I can't control it. I literally cannot control it. So I'm just going to focus on what I can control. And that's my own opinions, my own feelings, my own thoughts. So I'm just focusing on that. And then another thing in here that I also wrote down is my old trainer when I was working at Starbucks. I feel like I've been talking about Starbucks so much recently. My old trainer said, because I told him I wanted to become a shift supervisor because he was a shift supervisor. English, Jesus fucking Christ, because he was a shift supervisor and I was trying to promote. And so I asked him, you know, like, how do you stay so chill? Because he was such a chill fucking guy. He was literally just a chill guy. And he was so, like, anytime any situation came up, he handled it, like, super easy, super go with the flow. And, like, whenever it was his floor, nobody was really ever stressed out. Like, we knew that if he was running the floor, we were going to have a good day. Even if stuff went to shit, we weren't going to be emotionally distressed, right? There were other shift supervisors that when you came in and you saw them, you were like, fuck me, are you kidding? It's going to be a bad day. But with him, it was really, really easy to get through the day. And so I asked him, like, how do you do that? Like, how do you stay focused? How do you stay calm in these situations, right? And he said, when you become a supervisor, it's 10% of the situation and 90% how you react. And I've definitely heard that somewhere else before, but for some reason, when he said it, it stuck with me. I don't know what it was, but when he said it, I was like, oh my God, no, you're so fucking right. It is literally 90% is how you react, right? Because when you think about it, like, an interaction with a bad customer, that doesn't take very much time. That's only like this much time out of this much day, right? And if you allow yourself to, like, dwell on it and to get mad about it and to, you know, let it ruin your day, that's on you, because you let that ruin your day at that point. Because a lot of the times what you could do is just be like, damn, that bitch was crazy. And then just, like, move on with your day. It's, again, like, it's choosing what affects you and what doesn't, right? And these are a couple of the things that I heard I was talking about in the Law of Attraction Changed My Life podcast where she had her guest. Give yourself grace for not knowing about how to handle these situations. Because, yes, like, everybody fucking has those days where it's like everything is pissing you off. You're irritable, you're angry, you're just mad at the world, you're mad at everything, you're mad at everyone. And you have to give yourself grace for, like, okay, it's okay. Like, yeah, the beginning of my day was like this, but that doesn't mean the whole day has to be like this. And it's just, like, reminding yourself of, like, it's okay. It's literally fine, guys. It's literally fine. Realizing your mistakes and owning up to them. I feel like that's another big thing too, is, like, people have a hard time owning up to their own mistakes. And I'm guilty of that shit too. Of, like, realizing, like, oh shit, like, I was probably doing wrong in that situation. Like, again, talking about, like, customer service stuff. Like, did you give that person an attitude back? Like, did you give that person an attitude back and then it made the whole situation, like, blow up to, like, a giant proportion that you didn't need it to go to? It's like if you handled it with grace, calmly, like I said, my old trainer did, he just, like, never let that shit affect him, you know? He would just be like, damn, that sucked, you know? But other people, and I know I was like this a lot, was like, I would fucking talk about it for the rest of the day. I'd be like, oh my God, like, I had this really shitty customer and she was this and she was that. And, like, I'll talk about, like, the stories of that on TikTok sometimes because there are some that have, like, really stuck in my mind of, like, damn, that bitch was, like, fucking insane. But even when I was, like, in those situations, I was never rude to people. I was never rude right back. And I feel like, I don't know, like, you have to, there's some times where you have to accept that, like, shit, maybe I kind of caused part of that problem. You know what I mean? And I feel like in relationships, I did that a lot. Customer service, not so much, but in relationships, I did that a lot. Whether it was friendships, family, like, romantic, there were a lot of things that, like, I was to blame for that I didn't want to admit that I was to blame for. You know what I mean? So it's realizing that you make mistakes, apologizing for those things, owning up to those mistakes, and then moving on and not making those same mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's another big thing that, like, really stuck out to me. And then we also don't realize how powerful our attention and focus is. And I think that kind of goes back to, like, the circle of control is, like, if we are focusing on what's outside of our control, we're negative. We're in a negative space because we're constantly thinking about other people's opinions and we're trying to control how other people think about us, other people's perception. We're trying to control their actions. We can't do that. That's outside of the circle of control. But it is powerful to realize that you are in control of inside of the circle. You are in control of your thoughts, your emotions. I feel like I'm a fucking broken record. Oh my God. I feel like I'm saying the same shit over and over and over again. But I feel like that's really all it is you have control of what's in the circle and you don't have control of what's outside of it. And I think it's a really good exercise for a lot of people to do, especially people who struggle with negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative feelings about themselves, of how they're perceived, of other people, like people who are judgmental. That's another thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be less judgmental. And that's fucking hard. Again, Capricorn, we're judgy as fuck. We judge everybody over everything. And that's something that I'm really trying to not do as much because I feel like some people don't deserve the judgment. Because again, what does my opinion fucking matter to this person? You know what I mean? I don't know. But the last thing that I have written down on here is life is short. Why waste it being negative? Sit with that for a second. Life is short. Why waste it being negative? Our life is so beautiful. When you think about it, when you think about the limited time that we have on this earth, it's such a beautiful thing that we get to create relationships, we get to make friends, we get to meet new people, we get to have all of these fun experiences, we get to go places, we get to travel, we get to do all of these different things. We get to experience watching the sunrise, the sunset, touching grass, watching a butterfly, you know, seeing a puppy, like shit like that. Like, looking for the positive in your life is so important. I feel like now that I've gotten to a point in my life where I do most of the time think more positively than I do negatively, this serves me so much more than being fucking negative all the time. Oh my God. When I was negative, I was miserable. I was miserable constantly. And I think back to that time and I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, I feel like I just wasted so much of my life hating everything, hating myself, hating other people. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be so hateful. I want to be positive. I want to be a positive light. I want to be a good seed on this earth, you know? I want to leave an impact on people. And that's, you know, it's something that I'm working on. And yeah, I'm not perfect. Nobody's fucking perfect. But why waste time feeling negative when you can think positively? Again, circle of control. You have control over that. And it takes time. It takes effort. It's not going to change overnight. You can't just, you know, just be like, oh, I'm going to start thinking positive. Bitch, that's not how that's going to happen. You can't just like say that you're just going to think positively. You got to work on it. And it takes hard work. And yes, like, it sucks sometimes and you're going to revert back to those times. Like I said, This last month was pretty bad. Past couple days have been pretty bad for me mentally, but still overall, I'm not letting it like paralyze me. I can't dwell on it. I know everything that I have to know. I can't control the situation. I can't control what's going on, but I can control getting up and working on my podcast, getting up and reading, getting up and having breakfast, like things like that. I don't know. Like, and I really hope that I don't sound like holier than thou while I'm saying this shit, but like, I feel like the only reason why I say it like that is because I know, like, I've been through it. I literally spent like the entire first fucking like 22 years of my life being miserable, and I don't want to do that anymore. And I feel like it's never too late to change. If you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, however old you are, if you're, and especially if you're younger, if you're like in your 20s or you're still a teenager and you're seeing this and you're learning about these things, it is so much better to learn this at an earlier age. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I learned this shit at 22 and not like 52. There's so many people who don't learn this stuff until they are much, much older. It's better to focus on your mindset when you're young so that you don't spend a majority of your life feeling miserable. I feel like that is all that I have to say. I hope that that made sense. I hope that that made sense for a lot of people. I hope that that struck a chord with some people, because it really is beneficial. And I'm sorry if that came off as like tough love, but like sometimes we need a little tough love, okay? Be positive. Shit. Shed some sunlight into your goddamn soul. Be happy. You deserve to be happy. You deserve love and light and happiness in everything. You deserve to have a positive mindset. You deserve to not be miserable. I hope that that sounds okay. I hope that that made sense. Okay, let's get into the Airbuds recap, and then we will wrap this shit up, okay? Okay, so tracks of the week are nearly identical to last week. So number 1, Jerkin, again. Number 2, A Trophy Father's Trophy Son. Been listening to that a lot. Like I said, we already know what. Hurts by Emil and the Sniffers. Oh, I didn't even say that. Jerkin. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. Jerkin, Emil and the Sniffers. Trophy Fathers, Trophy Son, Sleeping with Sirens. Hurts, Emil and the Sniffers. Security, Emil and the Sniffers. You should not be doing that, Emil and the Sniffers. Album of the week, Cartoon Darkness by Emil and the Sniffers. The more that I say that, the less it sounds like real words. Artist of the week, Emil and the Sniffers, Sleeping with Sirens, and Kublai Khan TX. I believe that that is everything. All right? All right. I hope that you guys take something away from today's episode. I really hope that this does help some people to want to feel better. Not do better, to feel better. Through doing better, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, anyway. That's it. I'm done yelling at you, okay? I'm going to hold your hand. I love you so much, okay? I'm beautiful. You're beautiful. We're all beautiful, okay? I love you. Bye.